Entrepreneurship can be a lonely road to travel despite choosing a path that allows you to build wealth and make a real impact. It often feels like you are on this journey all by yourself. The desire to work from anywhere is fantastic, but you also yearn for a community of like-minded. You crave the chance to exchange ideas, learn from others facing similar challenges, collaborate, and forge new connections in the business world. Your friends and family may love and support you, but they don't really understand what you're going through. They are content with their 9 to 5 jobs, leaving you with no one to talk to about your entrepreneurial dreams. If only there were a community of fellow entrepreneurs, a place where you could find advice and support from those who truly get it. Imagine this, an oasis for entrepreneurs where you can quench your thirst for connection and fuel your ambition to succeed. Business Grid Insider is the community you've been waiting for. It's designed exclusively for entrepreneurs, founders, consultants, and freelancers like yourself. Here you can find a tribe of like-minded individuals ready to uplift, inspire, and help you overcome the challenges that come with building your empire. Expand your business network and explore new partnerships and collaboration opportunities. Enjoy exclusive resources, webinars, and workshops designed to enhance your entrepreneurial skills. Join Business Grid Insider today and unlock a world of support, knowledge, and opportunities to propel your entrepreneurial success to new heights. Head to tiny.cc/businessgridinsider. If client acquisition on social media has been something that has been bothering you and that you haven't really gotten the hang of it, then today's podcast episode is what you are going to want to tune into. If this is your first time here, hello, I'm Tanya. I'm a business growth architect and I work with startups, tech startups, and SMEs to accelerate their revenue using digital channels to drive client acquisition. So now, depending on when you're watching this, I just released the revenue acceleration masterclass, which is a complimentary masterclass, completely free, and I'll leave the link below to it in the description box. But as usual, if you are not new, I tend to overgive, overshare, and just do the most. So while recording the revenue acceleration masterclass, I really went in and really jammed, if you know what I mean. So I was jamming to it, enjoying it, and I overshared. And the team was like, girl, this is just too much. So we had to trim the masterclass. So what I had to do with the extra tidbit was either we trash it, but I didn't think it needed to be trashed because I believe it is still very important. So we've turned that into a podcast episode, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. Now, quick note, depending on if you're watching or listening, you will have heard about the Business Grid Insider community. This is a community that we are launching. We've launched to bring entrepreneurs, founders, business owners together, as well as freelancers, to not only collaborate with each other, to learn, to gain access to some of the things that we have in the back end, as well. If they are not yet ready, you are not yet ready to join us, to have us work on your business as an agency or marketing consultancy, and you may be still doing it solo, you still want to be doing it solo, we want to support you in that way. Also, we want to be able to build a community where people will eventually come in there to collaborate and actually ask each other questions. Because one thing I realized as I tuned into my vision for my business, I came to realize that I couldn't really find things that I wanted. I couldn't find communities where I could really ask questions and have people really give me advice and really go in. If I wanted to structure a consulting deal, what do I do? If I didn't want to go out to hunt for deals, could I subcontract? How should I go about it without going on Upwork? Could I network with people? So this is a community that we've put together. So I'll leave the details to join the community in the description box. Please don't forget to like, share, leave a comment. I'm really getting back into the swing of podcasting, and I'm probably going to share an episode soon on why I've been so inconsistent this year. Like, This has been a year where I've been really inconsistent with podcasting. Let's jump into this episode. This is Biz with Tanya, brought to you by Wiz Digital Academy, a show for business athletes and online bosses who are ready to take up. So, age snatching alert. I want to call BS on something that a lot of people are talking about that you might be thinking, and that is that leads are your problem. That I don't have enough leads, or I'm attracting freebie seekers, people that don't want to buy from me, and all those stories. Because the truth is, leads aren't your problem. Yes, I said it. Leads are everywhere. You bump into them every day. They are scrolling past your content every day. They are scrolling past your ads every day. The reality is you just don't know how to convert those leads into paid clients. And you might be like, oh, but Tanya, we've tried everything. Webinars, like cold funnels, email follow-ups, cold outreach. It's just not working the way it used to, or it's just not working for me. I've really tried everything. I've given free strategy sessions and nothing seems to work. But like I pointed out earlier, from what perspective did you actually create your offer? Is that an offer that people want to buy? Did you create it because you saw other people create something similar and you want to sell something similar? That a problem that people really want solved? Because the reality is you might know that, like, I'll give you an example with ourselves. For example, we know that the biggest problem that our clients have when we start working on them with them is they don't have a good enough sales process, and they do not have a revenue engine that is working. The revenue engine is broken. So the marketing is bad and the messaging is off. This is usually what we are there to fix. But to be honest, I could preach my heads off until I'm blue in the face about sales processes. They don't care. However, what my clients care about is being able to generate revenue with their digital assets, because ads are not very expensive. They see everybody's doing it, but is they aren't sure how to do it, and they want to be driving pipeline through that. So that's what I speak about. That's what I use in my marketing. But I know that the biggest problem are those. So I understand my market, and that's how I am creating my messaging. So the first question you need to ask yourself is that, and then ask yourself if 100% of the people that were interacting with your content, that were interacting with you, were to convert, would you still have a lead problem? We both agree that you wouldn't. So now that we know that that is not the real problem, the real issue becomes, how do we fix your sales process? And your sales process doesn't just start at the person booking a call. Your sales process starts with your marketing assets. Are they relevant and useful to the prospect? Are you effectively communicating and articulating how you help them? And actually, do you walk your audience through the buyer's journey for them to understand why they should actually work with you? Because the reality is that we have, knowing what to do is key. There is a learning curve and sometimes a knowledge gap, and that's just it. You maybe just have a knowledge gap, or you still have to learn. The time it took me to figure out that how to content hurts your pocket, that was my learning curve and knowledge gap. The time it took me to figure out how to write workshop webinar scripts for clients that had a propensity of conversion that was higher, because I figured out that teaching on sales webinars hurt conversion, that was a knowledge gap. I had a theory, and like in statistics, you test your hypothesis. I tested my theory and came out right. So the time it took me to figure out The content marketing ecosystem playbook to create a marketing flywheel to turn social media and content assets into a client acquisition machine. That was purely a learning curve. Today, I know exactly what to post to educate, create consideration, and get someone into a call. But for that to work adequately, I've had to post consistently to turn social media into a business lever. Consistency of output here is what will create your feedback loop that is needed to find your messaging market fit. Because eventually, no lack in trust, which the persuasive school of thoughts around marketing strongly believes that is eventually what leads to conversions, can only be achieved when you have consistency of output and you have messaging market fit, right? People have to know, lack in trust, and I'll add respect you as a professional to do business with you. They have to trust your ability to deliver on your brand promise. And content, I have seen, is the best way to build this with an audience at scale as you build relationships. But just like you didn't marry your partner at first sight, relationships take time to create. So fundamentally, just like there's product market fit, you need messaging market fit, and that is what is required so that your messaging can align with the market. Because the bigger thing is with the consistency of output is that it gives you data. Marketing is where data meets creativity and they decide to get married. Okay? So maybe this is a love at first sight story, but that's them only. So as a marketer and other marketers, we would love to be Harry Potter with a marketing magic wand that will allow us to turn into fairy godmothers, fairy godfathers. We cannot unfortunately create magic without data. Think of it like that pumpkin in Cinderella, and it turns back into a pumpkin at midnight. If we don't have data, the marketing will not work and it will become a pumpkin back at midnight. So I don't think that's what you want. So what you need to understand right now is that there's just a gap that we need to close. Okay? The reason I have to address this is that I have been seeing quite a number of business owners bash certain strategies, especially content, without necessarily understanding how it works. So I've been around long enough to know that everything works. Just like the book of Ecclesiastes says that there's nothing new under the sun, the same thing applies in business. The truth is that it comes down to the vision of the business you have. Do you want your business to sell culture, like LVMH, or do you want it to be the Shein of your industry and be about fast fashion and easily accessible? Both very lucrative business playbook, albeit the strategies are day and night. Just because you don't understand why something works at creating results, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. Organic content works. It probably didn't work for you because you have yet to master this.
We will be back shortly with your episode. Right now, let's hear a quick word from today's episode sponsor.
Are you looking for a simple way to start making sales? Then you'll want to check out our coaching program, Easy Sales Blueprint. Finally, an easy way to sell your program or service. Discover the simple steps to creating a lucrative coaching or consulting business. The Easy Sales Blueprint gives you a step-by-step method to easily make more sales without spending all day on social media, cold outreach, and hitting the door to try a good old-fashioned door-to-door sales system. Apply today by heading to tiny.cc/getmoresales to find out how we can help you achieve online sales success. Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? Do you dream of financial freedom? Are you tired of the rat race and would like more time with your loved one and friends, making memories that will last you a lifetime? You may want to download Building a 20 Million Portfolio, How I Created Financial Freedom by Aurelian Amaka, a successful entrepreneur, founder of System.io, and author. So why not give it a try? Download Aurelian's book now and start building your own path to financial freedom by heading to tiny.cc/freedomb. Skill set that will make it effective. Cold DMs work. Perhaps you have yet to master approaching it. Do not have people ignore you day after. Ads also work, but it probably has yet to work for you because you have yet to acquire the skill set to maximize the ROI on it. So you do not blame the method. And what you actually need to do is ask yourself, what can I do to improve on the skill set? Do I hire it out? Do I learn? You need to ask yourself those questions. How do I show up so that in the next 6, 12 months, I get better and actually have better results? Because you've decided on a strategy, now you have to implement, and you know that it takes time. So you need to show up better. Because here's something I have learned. There is a method, there's a playbook, and there are processes that engineers the revenue you see people celebrate. These three encompasses how one can get results with a strategy. So I'll give you a perfect example, our own approach. We have the method, and this is the APK method. This is an approach that I've developed after being a copywriter for years and a business content creator and deploying it in in companies countless times. I started noticing that because I was a direct response conversion copywriter, and I started noticing that there are limitations to the application of conversion copywriting in the market, especially when you are creating assets, sales assets for clients that have little credibility and authority and may have an unclear offer. So when I started studying what was the problem that I kept noticing. That's how I developed the APK method because I finally understood that the foundation of a successful marketing strategy starts with branding as well as a clear offer that people want. Only then could one have messaging that hits the code and translates into high intent sales opportunities. Deploying a content marketing strategy as well as any messaging properly mechanism such as ads without that foundation only resulted in wasted effort, time, and money. This is why you see a lot of startups they raise fund because I'm gonna give an example here. They raise funding and then they run out of money and traction because they've been throwing so much money on ads on Google, on Facebook, and everywhere else, and they run out of money, but their revenue has not met the mark because there is a problem with the market messaging fit, and that is usually what the problem is. So eventually what I did to develop this approach was I would study two different copywriting school of thoughts, which is the empowering copywriting as a persuasive copywriting school of thought to develop this methodology. And this masterclass, for example, is me leveraging empowering copywriting because I am putting the knowledge in your hand for you to make the decisions. If like, hey, if there's a problem that I have, okay, Tanya said this, it makes sense to me because I've lived through it. Okay, I want to work with Tanya. So this is copywriting, empowering copywriting at hand. So if you've been following me on social media, I leverage persuasive copywriting all the time on my social media. And sometimes I also use empowering copywriting in written copy because I want you to have the knowledge and I want you to see me as a trusted advisor. That's when I leverage empowering copywriting. And eventually, on certain posts when I really want you to convert, I will use direct response. So it's all about the intent of what it is I'm trying to do and trying to achieve with the marketing assets I am creating. We, of course, then have the playbook. And where we are in our company, we use the content marketing ecosystem playbook, which is what we've also created, which is how we create demand in the market. So I want you to think of it as a system that aims to engulf people that enter our world to drive them through the buying cycle. So I've spoken extensively about it on my social media. I've written articles and published a video on this, a couple of videos on this on my YouTube channel. So you might also want to check that out if you want context in terms of this. But this is what we do to create demand. And to this day, we haven't used ads and we completely use it organically. In for other clients or some of our other clients, we've leveraged ads to propel this and amplify what we are doing. Then we have the processes. We have the conversion content framework, flirt framework, we have the infusion selling approach, amongst others that are the processes that we have developed to engineer demand capture with content, which is aimed at converting. So as you can clearly see, this is organic content. This is content marketing. But as I've demonstrated just now, you can see that it's just not about posting online. There is an approach, a strategy, a method behind it. And this is also why we are the cheapest agency or consultancy, because we are not just posting, we know we can get you results. So that's why we come at a premium. So if, for example, you were copying me on posting on social media, perhaps trying to imitate my style of writing without the context of the other pieces, because you aren't aware of them, just like with the iceberg, you may not be able to get results because there are pieces to the strategy that you do not have access to. And you will, of course, come to the conclusion that organic content doesn't work, whereas we drive 100% of our pipeline revenue and client acquisition with organic content for ourselves and for our client. And we have built our brand leveraging these new media platforms. And like I shared, some of our clients use ads, but if you're not a student or you're not a client, you will not know those missing parts and you will wonder, but how? So context is golden. You do not have the context of the strategy. So we have clearly established that you do not have a problem. You do not have a lead generation problem. You have a process problem. And your process where your revenue engine is broken is what is causing you to not get the results that you desire. So, to harness the power of social media for client acquisition, you need to understand the revenue acceleration formula. And this is something that we've coined, which is the revenue acceleration formula. And it simply means that there is a system, as I've shown before around marketing on social media, there is a system. Okay? And the resentment towards marketing on social media comes from not understanding the mechanics around it. And if you don't, you will post from January 1st to December 31st and get no clients. I've been there and gotten the t shirt. So now that we understand that, we are going to dive into what is the revenue acceleration formula, at least our version of it, what we have seen work and what we have deployed in clients' businesses. So this is the revenue acceleration formula, also known as the revenue acceleration equation, and it is based on the APK method, which I have introduced to you a little bit earlier. The reason why I believe this is so is because, like I shared, if your branding and your offer is not well articulated, if it's not done properly, then everything else that we try to generate revenue, it means nothing. So we have anchor. This is why this is the anchor, because this is the foundation on which your revenue will be built on. So this is a very important formula I want you to remember. So we have anchor on which the foundation of your revenue acceleration will be built on, and that is your branding plus your offer. This becomes your lever, because what happens to levers is that with time, you need less of it, do less of it to actually get more results. Okay, so this is why we call that the lever. So the anchor part are the levers that you will eventually start pulling at to get maximum results with what you do. So it will save time in terms of customer acquisition. It will save time in terms of of people knowing what who you are. So eventually they just want to do business with you. So it reduces like convincing time, persuasion time, your sales process time. That's increasing your sales velocity, right? Then we have the propel part, which is your multiplier. So you have your messaging, which is usually what the market gets to consume to be able to understand your branding and your offer, and your content, which are part of your marketing assets that drives eventually drives your revenue and actually supports your sales process. And that's your multiplier, because the more you have of it, the better it is, the more reach you have. And the more reach you have, the more people consume your content, the more people consume your message. Eventually, that drives into your revenue. And eventually, we have the sales process, which is your demand capture, which is the cure part, where we are curing the problem. The K is just a play on words, but recurring the no sales things, the no sales in your calendar, fewer small pipelines, like lower conversions. So that is cured through your sales process, because then it captures the demand that has been created through the propel stage, and that turns into paid clients. So this is your revenue acceleration equation. So we are going to step into these different aspects, where I'm going to be diving into each of them. Some companies are succeeding in becoming the dominant go to brand, while others languish as Me Too providers. Think iPhones, which are considered to be the top tier in portable phone markets. And then think of your techno phones. I don't even know if other people know about what is techno, or your Doogie or Doogie phone. Those are also great phones. I've used Doogie, a while ago, a few years ago. Great phones, but it was also great features, but they cannot compete with iPhone, and that's because iPhone has set the standard of that industry, and this happens across industries. This could be in the consulting sector, this is in the fintech space as well. I mean, there's a lot of fintechs happening right now, but very few are able to compete with PayPal and Stripe, who have taken that market in a chokehold. And you need to understand the principles behind what I'm trying to speak about here, because once you understand this, you are able to replicate it into your business. The sky is the limit, because every market you will see that from watches, there are watches that are $10,000 and there are watches that are $100. All of them can tell time. But why is it that somebody will buy a $10,000 watch instead of $100 watch? So when you are a go-to brand, you set the price. You are able to turn work away, name your terms, and may even have prospects compete for you to do business with them. So it's the one thing to differentiate and focus, because that's what most people will be like, oh, you need to differentiate from the rest of the market. That's one thing. But becoming the go to brand in a chosen market is incredibly profitable, and it is powerful. This is why Apple went for that play. This is why LVMH has gone for that play. LVMH has the money to go into the mass market, but they haven't, because it is powerful to be the go to brand. So, in addition to obtaining a sustainable differentiation, you as a company needs to maintain healthy margins and grow revenue over time. And having a dominant brand allows you that. So, becoming the go-to brand it's about being so unique and superior at filling the need that your clients, your prospects, your market wants, that you can command premium prices, work with premium customers, and hire premium people. Because let's be honest, if you are the cheapest person in the room, you can't hire the best talent, because the best talent costs money. So the greatest advantage of being the go-to brand is not only just the financial, but you don't compete on price anymore. You no longer have to compete on price. You no longer have to give hefty discounts to get the work. So because the reason being for that is that the buyer, your clients, considers the benefits offered by you by working with you to far outweigh the costs. This is why branding is important. This is why branding comes into play. And this is why branding is really important, especially if you're in the service marketplace or even any other business I'll warrant, because that helps you determine how people will want to work with you. And one of the other advantages is that you stand out from the crowd. As the top of mind solutions, businesses become the solution choice for customers. So when people think of that market, they think, oh, I'm just going to work with so and so, because you are the one that is top of mind. And that is achieved by really having a great branding, a great brand, and great brand positioning strategy. And all this comes down to your branding strategy. So if you find that your company is having trouble differentiating from the rest of your competitors, and you are competing on price, then you want to work on this. You want to work on your branding. And this is especially true if your work as a direct or indirect bearing on revenue or margins. And this is often the case for companies, service companies that are in operations, management, sales, business development, marketing. Often you tend to be commoditized. And when you are commoditized, everybody's like, oh, I can go to so and so, they will give it to me for so and so, and you are charging $2,000. Well, I can go on Fiverr and get somebody to do it for $20. But if you are a go-to brand, nobody does that, because they know that okay, you are the best. They can go to Fiverr, but they will not get what you have to offer. But to do this, you need to understand that your business cannot look and sound like everyone else. Because if you look and sound like everybody else, then you're a Me Too brand. Years ago, when I was younger, in my teen years, if for people who don't know, I'm 6 feet two, so I'm quite tall. So I used to model. And one thing if you've never been a model, you wouldn't know about modeling auditions. But when you go to a model audition, you have all these beautiful models come to the audition, and all models at casting are held equal. So most time they will tell you need to wear a white t-shirt, black jeans, so that they can standardize your looks. And from that, the companies will decide what the model that they feel will fit best into what they want portrayed. And this is exactly what happens in the business world. If you sound exactly like your competitors, you've been copying them and doing exactly what they're doing, you are basically at the modeling audition, and you have been standardized, and everybody's seeing you as a commodity. And what happens is like 99% of all the companies out there, you are failing to differentiate in a way that's blatantly obvious to customers, which makes you a Me Too commodity. And there's no benefits to it, because now the only differentiating factor in the eyes of the market is pricing. And as we all know, price, you cannot be the cheapest person in the room, because somebody else will still be cheaper than you. So it's a race to the bottom. So this is clear. This is what happens. I've seen this in course business, service businesses, SaaS products. I know that there's a product I'm currently looking um, at getting for the agency. It's a SaaS service, and the reality is, I have seen them before, right? I had seen them before when I had done Google searches, but really did not pay much attention to them. And I ended up paying much attention to them after I heard them on a podcast. I heard a CEO on a podcast that I pay attention to and listen to, and then I went and looked for the company, and that's when I Googled the company. I'm like, oh, I've seen this before, and I booked a demo. You get me? Because the perspective in which I was looking at them completely changed, because I saw them on a platform that I believe is only for the best of the businesses, and that I believe in what they share, and I believe in their expertise. That means that if they had the CEO there, that means that this company that is running has something that I should definitely consider. But previously, I had standardized them based on pricing, and I was like, maybe I could get it cheaper. You get me? So this happens in all businesses across the board, especially when you're selling something that is not tangible, such as courses, services, products, SaaS products. Buyers can't easily touch or experience them before making a purchase, right? So almost any professional service category is a great example for this. If Let me ask you to do something, you might pause this or you might do it afterward. Go out to the website of various doctors, lawyers, graphic designers, advertising companies, VC firms, agency, architectural firm, any business that you want to think of, service providers, communication, anything. Try, like, remove the names, open different tabs. Don't look at the names. Start reading the copy. What you will realize that they almost sound the same. They all sound the same. They all sound the same. So there's nothing making them unique because they've all been copying each other. So chances are that if you strip the names of the website for each of these companies, mix them up, you will find it impossible to know which paragraph belongs to which firm. If during this exercise, you can do this with your own business, with your own website. If during this exercise, you can't seem to be able to tell your company apart from your competitor, if you strip down the name and mix the paragraph, you can copy some paragraph, put it next to each other on a Google Doc. You can't tell the difference, then, my friend, you have a branding problem. You have a branding problem, okay?